All right, what's going on, everybody? Broken Games HDR here. So first of all, Weapon Wheel podcast is tonight at 6:30 p.m. EST. Make sure you check that out live. Should be some fun and interesting topics to discuss. So make sure you don't miss that. Now to the point of the video. So this is a topic that I've touched on before, and I've kind of tackled it. And a lot of the times it's not met with the best reception. I believe due to a lot of PlayStation apologists making excuses for Sony and making excuses for PlayStation and everything like that. And I'm talking about PlayStation's inability or their lacking of multiplayer experiences this generation, right? Because I said this on Twitter. Sony pulled off like one of the greatest heists in like history with PlayStation Plus this generation, right? What they did is nothing short of a scam to me. You may not feel this way, but it doesn't really make it any difference. That doesn't change the fact that they absolutely scammed people who had subscribed to PlayStation Plus. And here's the reason why. Sony charges for online. Remember last generation when PlayStation Plus was first introduced, if my memory serves me correctly, I can't remember how many years it was or when they actually introduced PlayStation Plus on the PS3, what year, but it was free at first, if I'm not mistaken. Like, I got bad memory. I admit that, right? It was free. Of course, with Microsoft charging for their online last generation, Sony saw an opportunity to make more money. And as we've seen from recent reports, Sony has made a shit ton of money from PlayStation Plus subscriptions. They were missing, if they were to ever decide to go back free, which is unlikely, and there's rumors, well, not rumors, there's people who think Xbox and Microsoft might go free next generation. They're going to be passing on a lot of money because they made a lot of money from PlayStation Plus subscriptions. But I digress. So they decided after a few years after PlayStation Plus to charge for online, right? So the fact that you as a publisher are charging for online means that you as that same publisher who's charging for online should support your platform with multiplayer experiences that people are able to play online. Stay with me. I don't want y'all to get lost. Because let me make something clear. I'm not saying every game needs to have multiplayer. I don't think every game should have multiplayer. And the reason why I'm talking in this situation, I'm talking about PlayStation first party games. PlayStation first party multiplayer experiences. And the reason I'm talking about them specifically, I'm not talking about third party games, because people love to bring up, oh, well, since Sony isn't making a whole bunch of multiplayer games, oh, you got Fortnite, you got Call of Duty, you got Rainbow Six Siege. I'm gonna stop you right there. Ubisoft, Activision, and Epic Games are not charging me to play online. Sony is. Sony is charging me to play online. So they should be the ones. I'm not saying, of course, third party is a part of it, right? That contributes to what you're paying for, but Sony are the ones that are charging me. If I wanted to, I could play every one of these third-party games on PC. I have a more than capable PC. And guess what? It's free. Free. F-R-E-E. Free 99. Free. It don't cost nothing. So you can't use third parties as an excuse. Oh, go play these third-party games. No, those are free. And they're not charging me to play online. Sony is. So being that they're the ones saying, hey, you need to pay this amount of money to play on our platform, they should be the ones that provide some worthwhile multiplayer experiences. They are responsible for that. Not relying on third party, because, and I'm not trying to hear the excuse, oh, they made great single player games this generation. Absolutely, I agree. I loved like a lot of them. But that doesn't excuse your obligation to provide me with some good multiplayer content. Because when Microsoft is making when their first party is making shitty single player games, we don't say, oh, well, Microsoft isn't making great first party single player games. We'll rely on third party for that. No, we don't give Microsoft no excuses. We don't say, oh, Microsoft isn't great at making first party single player story narrative, whatever type of games. We don't give them that excuse. We say, we don't care. You need to do better. You need to figure out a way, whether it's buying new studios, creating new studios, getting the right talent to make these type of games. You need to make better games. You need to make more games. You need to make better games. We don't give them no excuses and no leeway. Get it done. So I'm not buying no excuses from Sony. Oh, they're not good at that. That's not where their talent is. Blah, blah, blah. No, get it done. Because that's the same standard we hold everybody else to. We don't want to hear no excuses. Get the shit done. Oh, y'all don't specialize in multiplayer games? Get some developers. There's plenty of people that want to work for PlayStation. Steal some developers like Microsoft. Look what they're doing. Stealing. Well, let me not say stealing, but they're getting talent from studios, even under the Sony umbrella, which I don't have a problem with, of course, who are good at that. So Sony needs to prioritize, make it something important to provide some multiplayer content for people who are subscribed to PlayStation Plus. And I will say I'm partly responsible because here's what I do, right? And I guess you can say I entrapped myself with this because I assumed, 2013, 2014, when PlayStation 4 is just out, I make the assumption, hey, for the next 7 years, you're going to provide me with some multiplayer experience from your first-party studios that's going to be worthwhile playing, right? So what I do is, and I do this this is what I do. When Black Friday comes around, we know we get deals on PlayStation Plus subscriptions. So to save money, what I do is I buy like 5 years of PlayStation Plus, and I just redeem all of it right there. It saves money. I really had no idea. Even last generation, but just based on last generation, I had no reason to think, hey, Sony is gonna go 5-6 years without giving me a first party multiplayer game that's worthwhile, that's worth subscribing to PlayStation Plus for. I had no reason to think that. Now, people bring up certain games with online capabilities, which is a reach at best. People bring up, oh, MLB The Show. Really, bro? That's a game that comes out every single year. That's not like an online experience that's worth paying for PlayStation Plus. You get what I'm saying? Right? Other games like people have even brought up to me Little Big Planet 3. Are you serious? Really? This is when we talk about multiplayer games worth playing, we're bringing up MLB The Show, Little Big Planet 3. Don't get me wrong, there was a few games, I actually loved Killzone Shadowfall. People have known, I still have, you could check out my playlist of it when it came out. I played that game until there was damn near nobody left in the servers. I like Killzone Online. I think it's great. I played that game till there was nobody left in the server. Got damn near. Till it was almost impossible to find a game. So I squeezed everything I could out of that game. Games they bring up Last of Us. The fact that you even have to bring up Last of Us, which I love as a multiplayer game, I still think it's one of the best multiplayer games to come out in recent time. It still came out in 2013. It is 2020. As much as I love a multiplayer game, I don't want to be playing it 7 years later, mostly due to the fact that there's been nothing for me to replace it with. That shows you, if you name Last of Us, that's a problem. If I have to go back 7 years to find a game worthwhile paying for PlayStation Plus. There was Uncharted 4. That still came out 2015. What my point is, throughout the generation, there has not been those games. There has not been those multiplayer experiences, even you could say once a year or something new, something refreshing that, you know what, this makes PlayStation Plus worth having. They have not supported it. They have not, and that's just a fact. They completely scammed everybody, and anybody who makes excuses for that, you're just an apologist as far as I'm concerned. Because even last generation, I'm not saying Sony had the best multiplayer first party lineup to offer, but at least they were clearly trying, and once again, to play online was at least free. I wouldn't have as much as a problem with them having no multiplayer games this generation if they weren't paying. It wouldn't be as much as a problem. But last generation, you gave me more multiplayer games to play, and I didn't pay for it. Even with like SOCOM 4, which the online, I'll tell you, was a huge fall from grace for the SOCOM series, because SOCOM 1 and 2 were amazing. 3 is where things started to like fall off. Even with MAG, even with that being still a mediocre multiplayer experience, I mean, I love Resistance 3 online. I love Killzone 2 and 3 online. They tried. I can tell you there was at least some options. There was at least some variety. God of War Ascension. They were clearly trying. You could say what you want about these games. Like I love Killzone 2 and 3 online. I love Resistance online. I love God of War Ascension online. I think those are very underrated multiplayers. That Sony was trying, and they gave you options. It doesn't even like compare to this generation. This generation, you would think like only single player games practically existed. They robbed me, bruh. They robbed me without a gun. They scammed me. It was straight up highway robbery. It was a heist. And now I guess, I hope next generation that they're putting more of a priority and an importance on multiplayer games. I guess by partying up with making some type of deals with third party studios, second party studios, like that Predator game. Even though I still feel like that's going to be on PC too, and it's going to be free on PC, and that's still a very poor attempt to get some multiplayer content on your platform. It's just very piss poor attempts. It's a very piss poor attempt, and it's a problem. It's a problem. There were clear opportunities for certain games to have multiplayer. Like I said, not every game needs to have multiplayer, but it's clear there were some opportunities where they could have gotten it done. I'm not saying shoehorn nothing, because when you talk about multiplayer games, people always talk about forcing shit, shoehorning. I'm not saying none of that shit. Don't do none of that shit. Make a worthwhile multiplayer game, like from the get-go with multiplayer in mind. I mean, even with, and y'all saw how upset I was about, The Last of Us 2 factions not being there at launch. It's going to be, that may actually work out, and it's going to be there at some point or another. Like maybe the end of this year, we'll learn more about it. It may launch on PS5. We know Last of Us 2 is going to be on PS5. That's an absolute. It's just sucked, because everybody knows my bread and butter on my channel has always been about multiplayer games. I beat single player games just as much as anybody. I love them just as much as anybody. But my love really is in multiplayer games. And once again, I got to reiterate this, because people like to have selective hearing and amnesia. I'm talking about Sony, PlayStation first party games, because they are the ones that are charging me. This is like, what's a good example? This is literally like, I don't know, like you pay for a service. You pay for a service. Let's say like Netflix, right? And one of the reasons that people do subscribe to Netflix now is because they have original content, right? There's a lot of stuff on there that are available. Well, some stuff on there that are available other places, sure. But a lot of people subscribe to Netflix for things they can't get nowhere else. So Netflix can't come to you and be like, you can't question Netflix about, oh, hey, where's y'all original content? we don't have any original content right now for you, but Amazon Prime got some original content. Yeah, but you're charging me. You're the ones who are charging me. Yeah. Oh, but Hulu got some original content, but yeah, but you're charging me for Netflix. Yeah, but HBO got original content. Motherfucker, you're the ones charging me. You. I paid for this, and you're the ones charging me. So don't tell me about what everybody else has to offer. What are you specifically giving me? You. And that's my problem with Sony when it comes to these multiplayer games. Because people act like the multiplayer part of games are like, they act like it's the red-headed stepchild or some shit. Like it's just this unimportant secondary portion. Like it's the bastard child. Like, no, I don't look at multiplayer games like that. I look at multiplayer games with the same lens I see single player games as far as importance of them. They're very important. I'm sorry. And some of you just look at it like they're the bastard child, like they're not that important. Like, oh, if I take care of this little motherfucker, oh, okay, cool. But he's not necessarily of importance to me. I don't care if he live or dies. I don't care if I feed the mofo. Like, if he withers away in the corner, cool. I'm not like upset. No, I treat them with equal importance. So that's why I don't give Sony and PlayStation this leeway that a lot of you give them. They gotta deliver. Because y'all praise everything about PlayStation. Oh, they're capable of this, they're capable of that, they're the best, they're amazing, they're great, they're the top of the industry, everything. But suddenly when it comes to multiplayer games, y'all treat them like they're the incapable quadriplegic who can't do anything for themselves. How'd that work? Sony can do everything. They're the best. They're the greatest. But when it comes to multiplayer games, y'all acting like they're an infant child that can't do nothing. You gotta coddle them and feed them and teach them everything. Like, what? If y'all gonna give them all this praise, y'all gotta hold them accountable for certain standards. Y'all can't praise these mofos and everything they do, and then suddenly when it comes to something else, y'all like, oh no, they're not. They can't do that. Oh no. Y'all put them on this pedestal. Now they gotta live up to it. They gotta live up to the standard that y'all put them on. So it's just not okay. It's not okay. I hope I made my point, because I still feel like there's gonna be people that are like really gonna act like apologists, and it's not okay, bro. It's not okay what they did this generation. It's not like. Am I saying they didn't have any multiplayer games? No. Technically, they did. Like I said, people are counting Little Big Planet 3 and freaking other games like MLB The Show when if you were going to talk about like in a real conversation about multiplayer games, nobody's bringing up Little Big Planet 3. Nobody's bringing up MLB The Show. Okay, Gran Turismo. Like I got into a debate with a dude with forgot his name on Twitter. He was naming all these games. I'm like, okay, MLB The Show, for example, from year to year is, yes, they make some improvements, but as far as a multiplayer experience, that's not the same as far as like a new Gears of War coming out, which a lot more changes come from the transition from Gears of War 4 online to Gears of War 5 online. Regardless of how you feel about Gears of War, if it's gotten better or worse, multiplayer wise, it's much more of a new experience going from 4 to 5 multiplayer wise than going from MLB The Show 19 to MLB The Show 20. And when you talk about multiplayer games, a multiplayer game, I want to play with my friend. Nobody's bringing up Little Big Planet 3. Like, come on, y'all know exactly what we talking about here. And I'm not saying it's all got to be shooters, because I don't think all these multiplayer games got to be shooters or anything like that. I would like them to be PvP. That's what I prefer. But I mean, even with God of War Ascension, that wasn't regardless of how you feel about it, I loved it. It wasn't a shooter. Nothing. Every multiplayer game don't got to be this shoot 'em up, bang bang, nigga die slow type content. No, because I love God of War Ascension, and it was a great multiplayer game. So Sony just has to be a little bit more creative. They got to do better with this stuff, man. They got to do better. I'm sorry. Because next generation, nah, I'm not. Nah, it's not okay. And it's like I haven't been really excited. I'm talking about like, you know, that childhood giddiness that you have for games that are coming out. I haven't really been excited deeply in my heart of hearts. I haven't been excited about a game for about like 4 years. There's games that I look forward to. There's games that I'm excited about, but like that deep childhood like giddiness, like, yo, I can't wait till this game come out. Like, no, I haven't been excited about that in 4 or 5 years. The only game I could even make a case for that you could say is like Final Fantasy VII Remake, because everybody heard me scream about that. Sure. But besides that, I can't tell you the last game I was like that childhood excited about. I couldn't tell you. And that's largely in part to, you know, my love for multiplayer games, and that hasn't been provided. And even when it comes to third-party games, once again, I'm talking about first-party games in this situation because Sony are the ones charging me. But when it comes to third-party, even they haven't provided games that I've really been that's for me. They have all these other weirdo multiplayer games that ain't for me, man. They're weirdo multiplayer games. PUBG is probably like maybe the only other game this generation multiplayer-wise I really enjoyed. I even reinstalled it. You know, I was playing it not too long ago. That's like maybe the only other game I could say like, oh man, this kind of scratched my multiplayer itch a bit. But other than that, yeah, I'm still forced to still play freaking Last of Us 7 years later. Not out of choice because I'm excited to get on Last of Us, because my lack of choices. I just hope both first party and third party, there's like just better multiplayer games next generation. But yeah, people can't just let Sony get away with this. I didn't intend to ramble this and rant this long, but yeah, people got to hold Sony accountable. They can't just be getting away with stuff like this, and like they do it right under people's noses, and like nobody called Sony out this generation. I'm like the only person. Like, I mean, Xbox dudes see where I'm coming from, but like PlayStation dudes just seem to like, no, we don't care. We're getting the best single player games, which, yeah, I agree you are. I mean, I played them too, but I like some multiplayer games with that. I would like that to be supplemented and complemented with my multiplayer games. I didn't intend to rant this long, but yo, it's really bothered me this generation. It really has bothered me, man. It's really bothered me. I hope next generation is better, because I need some more shit to play. Like, even though I disagree with the whole one and done line that a lot of Xbox dudes be talking about, because listen, yeah, a lot of these games are technically one and done, but like at least they're games that's even worth playing once, my nigga. A lot of these Xbox games ain't worth playing once. I gotta put that out there. One and done is way better than not worth buying at all. But so even though I disagree with that, like with these Sony first party games, single player games, as much as I love them, bro, I get like maybe 3 weeks. And that's being like generous out of these games. Like Uncharted, Uncharted 4, I beat that once. I didn't, you know, Uncharted 4 to me is the least replayable Uncharted game. I beat that once, took me like what, maybe a week? You know, never really touched it again. Of course that does have multiplayer, but like Horizon Zero Dawn, I platinum Horizon Zero Dawn in like 2-3 weeks. Never touched it again. So with all these like God of War, you know, I didn't go for the platinum. I got like 85% of the trophies. I did pretty much everything in the game, beat all the Valkyries and everything like that. Even in that game, 3 weeks flat. That's it. So when you look at it from the grand scale of things, with most of these highly touted PlayStation single player games, I'm getting 3 weeks out of each one, out of 7 years of a generation. Out of 7 years, bro. Like, even with Bloodborne, I'm sure I have like at least 100 hours in Bloodborne. Maybe I played that game for a month. That's still like a month here, and a month there out of a 7-year generation. Like, that's not enough. That's not enough, bro. You need games with legs, games that people can come back to. And y'all know I'm not the dude. I'm sorry, I'm not this dude that typically wants to, y'all be talking about, oh, I'm gonna beat this game 7 times. Okay, congratulations. You're a freaking weirdo. You like to beat the same game 7 times. And yes, there is an exception with me. The only game that I seem to never get tired of, no matter how many times I beat it, I mean, I'm tired of it at this point, is Resident Evil 4. Resident Evil 4, I've owned that on almost every other platform. But that's the only game. People like to bring it up. Oh, BG, haven't you played Resident Evil 4 like 7 times? Yes, I have. That's the only game. But they like to use it like it's the rule. Like I do that with all games. No, at most, I beat these games like 1 time, maybe twice. Last of Us, like I beat that game like maybe 3 times. And that was only because they added grounded. So you get my point. Y'all should get my point. Yeah. You just need legs with these games. They can't be, and I'm sorry to use the term once again. They can't be one and done. Even though, I would still prefer them over most Xbox games. But y'all get what I'm saying, man. Y'all get what I'm saying. I don't think there's anything else for me to say. If you didn't get the point I was making by now, then you either don't want to get it or you're too slow to get it. But yeah, let me know what y'all think. I'm out of here. Check out Weapon Wheel tonight. Follow me on Twitter. Peace.